Welcome to Work Savvy, the show where leadership meets self mastery. I'm Karen Gately, founder of Corporate Dojo, martial artist, and business sensei. Every episode, we explore what it takes to lead with impact and master the habits, mindsets, and skills that help people to thrive at work and beyond. Because whether you're leading a team or leading yourself, growth starts from within. On the show today, we're talking about how to manifest success and turn ambition into achievement. The gap between dreaming and achieving can feel wide, but the right mindset can turn possibility into reality. To help us unpack this topic, we're joined by Hilton Misso. Hilton is an entrepreneur, a lawyer, and a philanthropist with over 60 years of experience across business law and personal growth. He built Trilby Misso Lawyers, one of Australia's fastest growing law firms, and has led ventures across childcare, property, investments, and wellness. His latest book, How to Manifest Success, Hilton distills 50 lessons for building extraordinary life. Hilton, welcome to Work Savvy, and thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Karen. It's my privilege to be here, and thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, congratulations on the book. You've obviously got a very long and successful career spanning business, law, philanthropy. I'm curious to understand when you're pulling together the book and you were looking back through your career, what do you think are some of the core principles that really underpinned your success?
I guess I was always very committed to being the simple, ordinary guy because at the start of my life, I had very little in the way of skills, talents, looks, physique, and health. And therefore, not having that, I didn't have the opportunity to let my ego run rampant with me.
Yeah,
So, and that turned out to be one of my greatest advantages, I think,
yeah,
because the value of being the simple, ordinary guy, where people tend to be dismissive of you and underrate you,
yeah,
puts you at a great advantage.
yeah,
So that was one principle I followed, and I've still embraced that to the day.
yeah,
I like to be the dumbest learner in the class and
y-
ask all the questions, and
yeah,
everyone is grateful to me after the meeting for being so clear about insisting on getting clarity from
yeah,
the front stage, as it were.
yeah,
And the other thing I realized was that if you don't have skills and you see success happening with people who don't have any skills, and you see success happening in amazing ways where people can have all the degrees, particularly in the case of the twins, where they've done exactly the same things, got exactly the same qualifications. Nothing is different,
mm,
yet one has abundance and the other hasn't.
yeah,
So that was the subject that always intrigued me. And I thought, well, if you study something that's going to endure for the whole course of your life
mm,
and is going to be the solution to every scenario you face in your life, it's got to be the study of success.
yeah,
What is success and what are the dynamics of success?
yeah,
So at a very young age, I thought if I'm going to win in this world, the best and smartest way to do it is to study success
mm,
and its dynamics,
yeah,
which is what I did, and
yeah.
I'm still a learner.
Yeah, yeah,
And that's the way.
fantastic. And along that journey, what stands out in your mind? Obviously, in your book, you talk about 50 key principles. What are the ones that really stand out in your mind as being fundamental at the heart of what enables a human being to be successful?
I think that what's common with every single one of us is the fact that we all have suffering. We have challenge, we have adversity, and we think that our case is unique
Yeah,
and it's very different to everybody else's, and no one understands the problem that I've got,
yeah,
that the individual has. So I was exactly in that position as a teenager, from the age of about 12 to 19. I just thought I was the worst done by
yeah,
who person who had the least, and life was impossible. So that adversity and challenge I learned to accept.
yeah,
And when you accept that and you realize you're on worse than ground zero kind of position, you then have no option to go within.
Mm.
So I went to a Christian school, a Catholic school, where faith was a big thing, and therefore you tended to, and they always said that God existed within you, right?
Yeah.
And if you wanted to search for God and contact God, you go within.
Mm.
So, and that's of course the power within that we
Yeah.
all have.
Yeah.
So I went deep within, I had deep conversations within, and I became hardwired to the power within.
Mm.
So that was an absolute principle that has served me. So that over my 60 years, I've learned that uh, to embrace your adversity. And why would I do that? Because it is the raw material from
Mm.
which success is built.
Mm.
Yet, so often people look at as their handicap in terms of hardship, whereas it's
Totally
your
agree.
advantage.
Yeah.
So it's about, if you want, it's about the way, it's your attitude, the way
Yeah.
you look at things.
Yeah.
So there is nothing that you look at with a negative attitude or a negative perspective.
Yeah.
You look at it every single time as where is the opportunity and look for it. And that's just not a phrase or a saying. It's within you and you know it to
Mm.
be a truth.
Mm.
And that's the kind of spirit you have to
Yeah.
develop.
Yeah. No, absolutely agree. And, so much we can unpack just within what you've said already. But starting with that whole piece around accepting our reality, it's one of the reasons I most often observe tension and stress is that people are in circumstances that they would rather that they not be. They'd rather things be different for whatever reason. And it's the fight against it, it's the anger, the resentment, the blame that is what is ultimately actually undermining them, causing the stress and keeping them stuck where they are. So I think, I couldn't agree more. And then the next thing I've heard you say is then to put a lens of um, almost appreciation for the hardships and the challenges, because it's from that. And I can certainly relate to this in my own journey that that's where we actually get our growth. That's where we get our learning from, which I think, again, is incredibly important to understand and leverage.
It's absolutely about gratitude and it's about learning to play with the hand you're dealt.
Yeah.
Accept responsibility, accept that you're accountable to yourself in how you deal with it, and don't take part in the blame game.
Yeah.
So the moment you realize that and you have gratitude, gratitude displaces fear, stress, anxiety, because you now take responsibility. You now go into creative mode, and you go into a mode where you will deal with what you have to deal
Mm,
with the hand you've been dealt,
mm,
and all your energy will be good energy.
mm,
So the energy you spend in stress and complaint and blame is uh, is lost.
mm,
And when you can use that energy above the line rather than below the line, the power of that energy is exponential. So it's just not double or triple. It's
mm,
it's very much more than that.
mm,
So you learn to then cure yourself of all the distractions and become very focused. Where focus goes, energy flows.
mm.
And where energy flows, manifestation happens.
Yeah. Yeah. Brilliant. And, sometimes I also reflect on not only the lost energy, but also the energy that's put into things that undermine us. So, energy ruminating, energy based on fear around what might happen. And you can look back on your life and see that there's all these moments where the energy was actually invested in the wrong things, playing safe or hesitating to actually do what you really want to do. So yeah, it's incredibly important. If
It
I'm starting
was
out,
one of the most illuminating things for me where when I was preparing a little bit of a talk on fear
yeah,
and how to deal with fear, look at all the perspectives in fear, and almost wrote a thesis on it.
yeah,
It was really about burning good energy.
mm,
you could stop the burn of that good energy by somehow by attacking it and looking fear in the eye,
Yeah.
then that energy had it was pick up the lost energy, and it's just quite exponential in terms of it's doubling up, doubling up, doubling up.
Yeah.
So, and there's a thing with fear and courage and capability, which in the book I make reference to the 5 C's.
Mm.
So if you're driven by a compelling why, there's never a failure. There's nothing to be fearful of. And every time you make an attempt to do something, whether you win, lose, or draw, you increase the capability through the pure experience of
Mm.
having tried.
Mm.
There's no failure, there's an increased learning.
Mm.
With an increased learning, your capability goes up.
Mm.
When your capability goes up, your level of confidence goes up. When your confidence goes up, your level of courage goes up.
Mm.
And as your level of courage goes up, the the challenge of it, the fear of it, that power is diminished.
Mm.
So you keep working that loop with your compelling why. So you will keep working the why, you will keep climbing up the ladder. Provided your compelling why is strong enough,
Mm.
you'll keep circling back. And every time you get stronger and stronger to the point that you realize, or you come to realize that the challenge was the very thing that helped you build the
Mm.
courage,
Mm.
provided you have the right attitude to it
That's right.
and the right why. It's
Yeah.
the why that will drive you, the attitude.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, totally agree. I was having a conversation with a leader just yesterday, and they told a similar story of not knowing their why for a period of time and just how draining and undermining that was. But then getting to a place of having that clarity and having, really hooked into that sense of purpose, just how much easier it was to then face some of those challenges and to keep going and to build again the experience and the almost the battle armor, So they were sharing obviously their journey through all of the peaks and troughs of their career. But yeah, their story came to my mind as you were sharing that.
Yeah.
So, if I'm starting out early in my business career, obviously we've talked about some core principles already. What else would you add to the list for me to really make sure is
I
at the heart
think
of what
two
I'm
other
doing?
things. So you embrace your adversity and you play the game with the hand you're dealt.
Yeah,
The second thing is you commit to your goal, or you self-prophesize, or you make a pledge about what you're
yeah,
going to do, and you commit to that. So for me, it was about studying success. It was about adopting a vision. So most people say, and there's a lot of confusion over vision and mission, and over the decades, I've seen it all, and I've chosen a philosophical basis of vision.
mm,
So it's 4 points on that vision, and that's to do good, to serve the many, to have leverage, and to have impact.
yeah,
And that is sure ideology, but it's very positional because
mm,
it's your true north.
mm,
So, regardless of what hardship, challenge, or real deep problem you face or crisis you face,
mm,
uh, the power of that vision never goes away.
mm,
It's something that everyone will embrace and connect to because deep within, we're all about doing good.
mm,
So that's a true north that never falters, but it's also the secret to growth.
mm,
It's the secret to the 10 times growth
mm,
because it's good. Good always wins out over anything else.
mm,
If you serve the many, you've got a market. If you've got leverage and you can through brand, through systems, through everything there is to increase the leverage, and it's got to have impact.
mm,
So my best example of that is Trilby Misso lawyers. When we did the law
mm,
firm, the good was no win, no pay. The many was the middle to low socioeconomic. The leverage was brand. So we made the brand synonymous with no win, no pay.
mm,
So that when you own a brand, we had the assailants come in, try to knock us over.
mm,
And they would advertise massively on the no win, no pay.
mm,
But because we had already owned the no win, no pay, it was synonymous with the name of our law firm,
Yeah.
so that it automatically inferred that it was us,
Yeah.
right? So all the advertising done by the opposition, the beneficiary of that was us, and
Yeah.
that's what made us, right?
Yeah.
So that, and I had real life experiences in the course of our negotiations for the sale where that was exactly the position. But unknowingly to the assailant, to the acquirer, we were actually, it suited us because it absolutely increased our market,
Yeah.
our growth rate, and did everything else.
Yeah.
So strategy is so important in
Yeah.
law.
Yeah. Absolutely. But again, obviously that brand is clearly reflecting your core values as an organization. So again, your purpose, your why. And it is actually really hard to compete with that. You know, people can't mimic an organization that has that deep sense of purpose. You know, so regardless of how strategically smart we are, you know, there's there's no doubt that when teams of people are also connected around that shared purpose, it's
So
really
for the
powerful.
startup, I'm always very big on my first thing is without a vision, you've got nothing,
Yeah,
right? So I've heard that all my life. So it is absolutely an imperative that they have a vision that really meets something,
yeah,
that their values, now we talk about values, values underpins culture, it underpins everything.
yeah,
And if you have the right values, then that will lead you to the right missions, right? So every mission you undertake under your vision, whether it be personal life or any business you undertake, any entrepreneurial pursuit you engage in, you must have consistency and alignment and harmony with your vision and your values,
mm,
right? And that will keep you on the right track all your life, no
mm,
matter what happens, and
mm,
you never compromise on that.
mm,
So that vision and belief for the startup is absolutely an imperative.
mm,
And then I might add the third quality with a startup is you can have the best product in the world. You can have the best skills in the world, the best knowledge in the world, and be a true expert, a skilled genius. But if you haven't got marketing and if you haven't got the capacity to sell, and if you
yeah,
haven't developed that intuitive instinct to know when to do something,
mm,
then all of the aforesaid I said before is worth nothing.
mm,
But for the person who has got instinct and intuition and has got that ability to market and sell,
mm,
he'll do very well with a
mm,
mediocre product every
mm,
day of the week.
mm,
He will have better impact. He will do more good. He
yeah,
will do everything.
yeah.
To have great knowledge, wisdom, and skills and keep it to yourself is not worth a dime.
No, exactly. And that's the whole thing. I think sometimes, you know, selling has a bad reputation, but at the end of the day, what you're doing is connecting the world with the value that you can add, whether it's through your product or your service. And I think, again, if people, entrepreneurs, are passionate about their why and the impact they want to have, that's going to be an important part of, an important ingredient in that sales process and engaging customers.
So Karen, if I may say, when I started off as a professional person in professional services,
Mm.
to go to a sales congress or sales seminar for personal development was considered way beneath the
Yeah,
standard that was expected, right?
yeah.
But I took great interest in that.
Yeah,
So, and I also took great interest in philosophy. Philosophy has always been my passion since I
yeah,
was a boy,
yeah,
and human behavior.
yeah,
Human behavior is directly linked to sales. Philosophy is directly linked to life and to success,
yeah,
right? So they're two very key important things to do.
yeah,
Whilst they may not help you being the best technician, but success is not about being the best technician.
mm,
It's about being able to communicate yourself in such a way that you can make your client, your prospect, whoever it is, but your neighbor, absolutely excited and enthusiastic about what he needs to do
yeah,
to get the outcome that he
yeah,
seeks.
yeah,
So that's the key. That's
yeah,
the important factor.
yeah,
So studying that, complemented by your skill, great.
mm,
Skill without that doesn't do much.
no, No, and it's a challenge. I've met a lot of people in small business where, regardless of the industry, whether it's professional services or otherwise, where that is the challenge. So many people talk about manifesting like it's some kind of magic. What does it really look like in practice? Again, obviously, you've shared some really important principles for us to follow. But if I want to deliberately manifest my future, then what do I do every day?
I think definitely it's the question of engaging yourself in the study of self development, in the subject of philosophy, and doing something every day to enhance your ability to be able to visualize, to be able
Mm,
to use affirmations, to be able to use your intentions, your seedings.
mm,
If you want an apple tree, you don't plant orange seeds.
mm,
So it is with your thinking. If you want an outcome to happen, it starts with the thought. And then you have to have your belief system to support that.
mm,
And then you need to, so you could do the visualizations, the affirmations, you can do the seedings, and you can have the beliefs, you can have all of that. But if you don't actually do the exercises daily and make an effort every day to progress with a positive mindset, then it's again not worth a dime.
mm,
So it's about the doing. So Pavarotti, the famous soprano singer, he would say that practice every day was so important. So you might gain a skill, but to hold that skill, you got to work doubly hard every
mm,
day to retain that fineness. So he said, and he claimed that if he didn't practice his hours every day, if he didn't miss one day, he would pick up the difference in the essence and quality
mm,
of his voice. If he didn't do it 2 days, his wife would pick it. If he didn't do it 3 days, his audience would pick it.
mm,
So it is absolutely pivotal that you learn the skills and you actually do that every day.
mm,
The art of manifesting is very much associated with the use of those 5 key principles, which I call the Misso system.
mm,
But whatever you call it, it is the ability to dream, to visualize, and use the techniques in which to develop that skill. Affirmations are very powerful because they can change your whole demeanor, your energy within, your vibrational energy, your frequency,
mm,
and even change your belief systems.
mm.
Seedings.
Talk to us a bit about affirmations. How do you practice them? How do they work?
Well, that's probably the easiest, most powerful thing to use of all,
Mm,
because you see, if you're feeling tired and you want to pick up your energy, just 3 words: full of energy.
mm,
And if you got into the habit of saying full of energy, full of energy, full of energy, and you were able to say that for 10 minutes,
mm,
see how you felt at the start and see how you felt at the end, you will find that you've sort of risen out into the clouds. And when you say full of energy, use tonality. So at the start, you might start with a low pitch of full of energy, full of it, full of energy, full of it, full of energy, full of energy, and then pump the air
yeah,
and use emotion. Emotion is a huge booster,
yeah,
right, to your affirmations. And then it gets your thinking right.
yeah,
So, one thing to always remember is that anything that's ever been done on this planet has been done because of a thought.
yeah,
Without a thought, it doesn't even get started.
yeah,
So the very seed is the thought. So
yeah,
when we talk about seeds and fruit trees, we got to plant the right seeds to get the correct fruit.
yeah,
In the same way, if you want an outcome, if you're thinking about the negative and the hardships, then all you're going to get is the obstacles and the hardships
mm,
and not have the impact of getting what you want.
mm,
So that takes a lot of training.
yeah,
So affirmations is easy to keep you on track, but the best of all is to learn to meditate, learn to contemplate, learn to value your quiet times so that you can be truly with yourself and to be with yourself in the moment.
mm,
And when you have presence. So I have a thing called 3 M's, and I'm doing a course to demonstrate the power of the mind.
mm,
So mindfulness is about your awareness and being in the moment.
mm,
Mindset
mm,
is about intentional attitude, and that's what you want, and to do with your beliefs. And mind power is your ability to use your mind and your thinking to manifest what it is that you want
Mm,
through the mind power, through the use of thought,
mm.
through the use of focus. Where focus goes, energy flows.
Yeah,
Repetition is the mother of all success,
yeah,
and so on. So it's about, and they're all affirmations which have huge power.
yeah,
People who want money, what's wrong with saying huge, unbelievable amounts of wealth is coming my way
yeah,
every day in every way?
yeah,
Massive amounts of wealth is coming to me.
yeah.
See, so you start saying that, and I guarantee if it's ingrained in your system and you're repeating it through the day, your vibrational energy transforms
Mm,
something amazing.
mm,
And it becomes like magic.
mm,
And what is magic?
mm.
It is to make the seemingly impossible possible.
Yeah. And is it true that, through doing those affirmations and planting those seeds, that I then start to do the right things? Because I think sometimes people think that I can just sit and think it and all of a sudden it will appear. But in my experience, it's more that I then implement. I actually
Absolutely.
pick up the phone, I have the conversations, I do the
It,
stuff.
it, it will motivate you because you see your vibrational energy and, yeah, and frequencies. Wow, it's like an electric charge
Yeah.
hitting you, right?
Yeah.
Hits at your core and you get up and you start to do.
Yeah.
I know that in golf I've applied those principles, and from a handicap of 10, I went down to 3
Yeah.
because with golf, when you do all those drills, you have an opportunity to get an immediate outcome.
Mm,
And then you say, wow, it works.
mm,
But in life, things work out very differently
mm.
in mysterious ways
Yeah.
because sometimes you might be tortured for a while to make you more resilient, to make you to be able to make you tougher because tougher was needed if you're going
Yeah.
to achieve the big things.
Mm.
So you got to go through your struggles to build strength, to build courage, to build that 5 C's, to build your why.
Yeah.
They'll come out of those challenges
Yeah.
provided you work at it.
Yeah. 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 Absolutely. Brilliant. Um, can you think of a time and something you can share where in your world things went off track and
Uh, well,
yeah, because
I,
presumably you've had those challenges and how you got back on course?
I've had that in health all my life, and that
Mm,
continues to challenge me
mm,
even to this day.
mm,
Uh, in law, I certainly had that, where the laws changed, and as we grew, I had to appoint a CEO in charge. There was a change of laws where they managed the frivolous claims and they eliminated that. They made procedures a lot harder,
mm,
but at the same time, they relaxed advertising. And so we did strike a big dry gully
mm,
where, with delegating, sometimes the people you engage don't do exactly things the way you want them to do
mm,
it. It tends to get you into trouble.
mm.
With the change of legislation, cash flows slowed up.
Yeah.
So we got into a very big hole,
Yeah.
and we nearly fell apart as a
Mm,
group. And and there I declared and made a pledge at this sort of critical death stage where we're completely hopeless and felt hopeless with
yeah.
everything. And I made a pledge that we would recover, but not only would we recover, we would climb to the top of the mountain and do absolutely amazing things.
Mm,
I remember the moment, the day, and that's what we did, and we
yeah.
got out of that. In childcare, I had the same problem where I had my number one person, 4 people absolutely dependent, the most important 4 people left me like a shag on a rock. And I honestly, that was devastating,
Mm,
right? But then the fact of that you had studied philosophy, you had studied courage,
mm,
you had developed a degree of resilience to handle the biggest of challenges.
mm.
I was able to endure that, recover from that, and to get to a much better position.
Yeah.
The early learning in childcare has been an amazing adventure for me, and I'm
Yeah.
still in it.
Yeah.
I employ a lot of people there,
Yeah.
and and we're doing well there. With
Yeah.
property, same thing with property.
Yeah.
I do a lot of speculation with property, but then I realized to become a passive property owner with absolute critically good properties was a better strategy.
Yeah.
So I shifted strategy to work on long term, to work on the power of compounding
Yeah.
interest. That
Yeah.
same with with holding real estate rather than constantly turning
Yeah.
real estate. But if there were good properties, and so it goes in every
Yeah.
industry I've had challenges,
Yeah.
but I won.
Yeah.
I entered technology. Well, we've had massive challenges that went for 7 years, but at the end of the day, we came through shining
Yeah.
because that resilience, that belief in self, the power within,
Yeah.
that desire to personally develop and learn, and you develop an inner strength
Yeah.
that's quite amazing.
Yeah. No, I appreciate you sharing those stories because it would have been easy to be listening to you thinking, oh, wow, you were just born with this incredible mindset. And, but, like every successful person, there is those really tough moments. So, yeah.
There's no such thing as being born with a silver spoon in your
No.
mouth. That's utter rubbish.
Yeah.
And then to say that you're lucky. So
Yeah.
that's the common thing that's declared, right?
Yeah.
Oh, but you're lucky.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, and I say to the people, definitely do not deny luck.
Yeah.
I embrace luck with all the gratitude and love and passion.
Yeah.
And I tell the person who tells me that with a degree of resentment.
Yeah.
They say, oh, but you're lucky.
Yeah.
And I'm not. I say, really? I said, yes, I am lucky,
Mm.
extraordinarily lucky. I love luck because I'm like the positive end of a magnet that attracts it.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. So if you don't like any measure of luck, can you deflect it to me? Because
Yeah.
it's beautiful, right? So, and I don't lay claim
Oh,
to the fact that it's hard work
yeah.
because you see, that's not a good belief system to develop, that
No.
you've got to work hard to
Yeah.
win. You don't,
Yeah. Yeah.
because the law of attraction says you don't,
Yeah.
right? Because when you work hard at building your vibrational energy, your frequency, your excitement and enthusiasm to make everyone else similarly impacted,
Yeah.
you, you are the positive end of a magnet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Never deny it.
Yeah.
Never deny it.
I think that's a brilliant note to finish on. We'll let you just be this positive magnet to the people out there listening. Thank you so much for sharing all of your wisdom. It truly is inspiring. If people want to get their hands on the book or want to learn more about you, where can they go and do that?
They go to think to be numerical to be thinktobe.com.au.
Yeah.
Or if they look up my name, Hilton Misso, they will certainly find the link to the book
Yeah.
in any number of places. How to
Fantastic.
manifest success.
Fantastic. Well, thank you again. I'm super grateful for you coming on to Work Savvy today.
Thank you for the opportunity, Carmen.
Thank you. To our listeners, if there are any topics you would like us to explore, please get in touch via our website, which is corporatedojo.com, or, of course, any of our social media channels. And don't forget to work savvy.